So, if we haven't had a chance to meet, my name is David, and this is my awesome partner, Mandy.
Hi there.
We're the publishers of Awakened Magazine. And so we are passionate about amplifying the message, the wisdom, the work of people like yourself who are making a huge difference in the world. Everything from conscious healers, speakers, coaches, facilitators, holistic practitioners, all of it. I'm just so excited that you guys are all here. You are here for the very first Awaken Business Masterclass. And I just want to tell you ahead of time. I know I put this in the email to you, but would you mind just clicking admit when somebody jumps into the waiting room? I want you to know ahead of time, like, there's no pitch. Like, this is not a sales pitch. I'm not pitching you anything. Hey, if you want to be a part of Awaken Magazine, be a part of it. Boom, that's it. I will tell you that the three people that I have sharing tonight, they're all executive contributors. They're just amazing people, and I have invited them just to tell you a little bit about themselves. But so you're not waiting for the end for some big pitch, just to put you at ease. So excited, and we're going to do this once a month for the specific purpose of, number one, I want you to feel connected to a larger community of people. You probably, have that already online through connections that you have, but I want you to feel that with Awaken Magazine because I just believe in you, and I just believe that you're doing great things. And if I can help you get connected to other people who are doing great things, there can be cross-pollination and collaboration and encouragement. And that's why we exist, like, to help you make a bigger impact in whatever way that you're wanting to make an impact. All right. So that's the first thing, is just connection. So look around the people here in this room, take note of their names on the screen. If there's somebody that you want to connect with later, like, grab their name, even like direct message them in the chat. To say, hey, do you want to connect? Or I'd love to know more about you or whatever. So that's definitely a desire, right? Not looking for you to pitch yourself, just to connect, right? And then the second thing is, I want to invest in you from a business perspective. So, like, tonight, we're talking about amplifying your voice as a conscious leader. Next month, we're talking about cultivating creativity in your life and business. And I've got three amazing people, Dinah Simpson, Jean, and Whitney Freya, who are just amazing when it comes to creativity. And so we'll do that at the end of September. All right. So that is why we are here. And so I have specifically asked Natasha Davidson, who is a best facilitator, bioenergetic synchronization technique. You can obviously learn all about her on Awaken Magazine. She's a great friend. She's a wellness coach. She's going to lead us in a time of kind of centering tonight. And then Trina Gadsden, who she's an intuitive guide and transformational energy and life coach. She lives in Mexico right now. She's amazing. If you haven't seen her interview, I encourage you to watch that. She's going to lead us in a session as well. And then Bernadette Logue, who she's a spiritual life coach and author. You definitely need to check out her interview as well. She's going to lead us in a session. And then we'll have some time afterwards for some Q&A. So you're welcome to throw questions as people are presenting into the chat window, and I'll take a note of those, and then we'll have the appropriate person answer that question after we're done with their presentation. So, all right. I think that's it for me for the moment. So, Natasha, lead us, guide us, help us get into some central channel breathing and meditation to just feel grounded in this moment.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that. I used to be someone who was really in my head a lot, and my energy was dispersed. And I learned that when I brought my awareness back onto myself and I brought my power back onto myself, then my energy field grew and it expanded, and I had more of an impact on those around me, more of a positive impact on those around me. And so I wanted to guide you through this and teach you how to do this central channel breathing, where you're able to anchor your consciousness in the core of your body and build circuits so that you can stabilize more of your consciousness, more of your light here in your physical body. So with that, I'll get started. So I invite you all to go ahead and close your eyes and bring your awareness on to yourself. So just forget about the outside world and just be here, right now, in this body. Come home. And I invite you to bring your awareness to the center of your head, the center of your brain. You might even roll your eyes up and roll your eyes down to really feel yourself right there behind your eyes. Go ahead and take a breath into the center of your brain. And then on the exhale, drop your awareness down your throat, and land in your heart. And then take a breath in and out of your heart. You might even roll your shoulder blades forward and up and back and down to really feel yourself right here in your heart space. And as you continue to breathe in and out of your heart, feel into a greater love, a love greater than you've ever experienced before. And then on the next breath, go ahead and exhale, bringing your awareness down your spine, all the way to the very base, the very tip of your spine. And to anchor your consciousness here, you might squeeze your pelvic floor. Some people call it a Kegel. Basically, you're squeezing the muscles as if you were going to the bathroom and you had to stop the stream quickly. Those muscles right there, gently engage them, really feeling rooted, anchored, grounded. Taking a few breaths here in and out of your belly. Feel tethered to your physical body. And then on the next breath, I invite you to exhale down your legs, down into the earth. Go as far down into the earth as you desire. You might even go as far down to the light at the center of the earth, feeling into the love of Mother Earth. And then on the next breath, I invite you to imagine that you're gathering this light from the center of the earth and you're bringing it up through the soles of your feet, up your legs, into your belly on the inhale. And then on the exhale, follow your breath, follow this light up your spine, up through your heart, up your throat, through the center of your brain, out the crown of your head to the sky above you. Then on the next breath, go ahead and imagine cosmic light pouring down from above, funneling and pouring down, liquid lighted love pouring down through your crown, through the center of your brain, going down your throat, down through the center of your heart, landing in your belly. And then on the exhale, follow that breath down your legs, out the bottoms of your feet, to the light at the center of the earth. Then once again, gathering that nurturing, supportive Mother Earth energy from beneath your feet, up your legs, into your belly. And then as you exhale, follow that light, follow that breath up your spine, out the crown of your head. Once again, gathering from above, allow consciousness to flow like a river flowing. Liquid, lighted love flowing from overhead, pouring down, landing in your belly. And then as you exhale, surrender, giving it to Mother Earth. On the next breath, breathing from Mother Earth all the way up into your belly on the inhale. And as you exhale, allow it to flow up the spine, out the crown of your head, to the heavens above. Then from overhead, receiving that liquid lighted love, letting it pour down, feeling as if your crown is completely open, like a whale's blowhole is open, receiving, letting it pour down, landing in your belly, and then exhaling down to the center of the earth. Then breathing from the center of the earth into the belly, and exhaling, following it up the spine, out that whale's blowhole to the heavens above. Let it shoot up like water shoots out of a whale. And then on the next breath, receive liquid lighted love. Let it pour down. Water falling down into your belly, your wisdom center. And then exhaling down deep into the earth. Connecting the heavens with the earth, being that rainbow bridge that you are. And continue one more time on your own, really being the breath as it moves, as it ascends. As you continue to breathe, focus on the feeling of precious. Expanding your awareness of the vibration of precious. Knowing how precious you are. And when you feel ready, go ahead and gently open your eyes. Coming back to the room. Beautiful. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to the precious Trina.
I love that. Thank you. That was beautiful. I got to get back in.
Right, sure.
All right. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for spending an hour with us of your sacred time. Your time is important. So I'm going to talk a little bit around authenticity. And the way I usually talk is by telling stories that relate to what I'm sharing. So I know you've all probably seen in the last few years, there's been kind of this measurement of human emotions from happy, sad, confused, mad, all the above. Similar to David Hawkins' kind of chart, but in this case, what they were looking at were what was the highest vibration that is available. So when they did that, everyone thought it's love. You know, that feeling of being in love or loving a pet or loving a spouse or loving a child or whatever your love is. And when that's so powerful, but it was actually about being authentic. So the highest frequency that comes from the human body is authenticity. Fascinating. As I always speak with any client or with any person, I always say, take everything I say with a grain of salt. Whatever resonates, perfect. Whatever doesn't resonate, also perfect. Your soul will know what's supposed to come in. So I'm going to tell a little bit of story time of how I work with my authenticity and my connection to source and soul. So a couple of years ago, the world was in a little topsy-turvy time. Looks like we're still in it. We haven't fully come out of that. But I was living in Hawaii and I was doing energy work. I was working with clients all over the world and I was quite content. And I woke up one morning and I got a very clear message that I needed to go walk the Camino de Santiago of Spain. So for most of you, if you don't know, it's that 500-mile kind of trek through the north part of Spain. It's been going on for centuries. And so I got connected back to source and I'm like, hey, I'm kind of good. I'm in Hawaii. Like I don't necessarily need to go to Spain right now. Why do I need to go to Spain? And I was shown very clearly that there were some ley lines on the path that needed to be cleared. And also there was a few churches that needed to be scrubbed up, I guess is how I would say it or see it, along with any person that I met on the path. I didn't need to go into deep conversation with, but when you walk the Camino, you do a one Camino, which means good walk. And you do this hundreds of times. Sometimes you don't see anyone. But you do that over and over again. And I was told that anytime I did one Camino, I was going to help transmute the reason they were walking on the path and lighten their energy. Along with, there's a lot of people, unfortunately, that die walking the Camino. And so there's a lot of grave sites along the path. So I was like, okay, that sounds like a fun assignment. I shall take that. So I bought some hiking boots in Hawaii, which wasn't a good decision, but I bought some hiking boots and jumped on a flight a few days later. So walking the Camino, I went to about 330 miles. And at that time, right before that, I'd met a guy that was living in the Netherlands who was quite persuasive, like, come to the Netherlands, come to the Netherlands. I'm like, I'm on the Camino. I got an assignment. Started to rain and get a little snowy, and I'm kind of a warm weather fish. And so I was like, okay, I'll take you up on the offer. So I went to the Netherlands and right away I saw why I was there. It was a mother wound that I thought I had cleared out, but actually hadn't fully cleared out. So I got called in for another way to clear that wound out. And so when I was there several months. And one night, while I was like in deep sleep, I had a very vivid dream. And in this dream, I was in a temple in Egypt. I had not been to Egypt. I travel the world, but I don't normally travel to travel. I get called to places similar to that kind of example that I just shared. And so I had this dream that I was in this temple. It was the most gorgeous thing I'd ever seen. It had huge, huge pillars of gold and turquoise and 4 different chambers. And in my dream, as I am in life, I was like, what is this? This is amazing. And I'm just kind of walking through. And I get to the 4th chamber. And in there is kind of this tall stand with a gold box. And I walk up to it in my dream and I'm like, what's this? And I open up the gold box and inside it is my physical heart beating. It's like beating. And I'm like, and so I pick it up and I put it to my chest and I wake up and I'm like, I just got called to Egypt. So I wake up this guy that I'm with and I was like, hey, we got to go to Egypt. I got to go to Egypt. I just got a very vivid call. Like, I got to go. The relationship unravels as it needed to. It had done its course. We'd got the lessons earlier. I just didn't listen to my intuition on that one. I should have left before, but it unravels. I take my stuff to the UK where I have an adopted mom who I met in the Borneo jungle looking for orangutans, give her my stuff, spend time with her, and jump on a flight to Egypt. So I'm kind of, flowing through Egypt as kind of how I travel. I don't set anything. It was actually a one-way ticket. It was like, okay, let's see where this goes. So I was in Luxor, I was in Aswan, I was in Cairo. The only thing I had was I needed to be in Cairo for a specific kind of group meditation, other parts in the world where they can tap into me in the King's Chamber on Lionsgate. So that was it. So I'm down in Luxor and outside of Luxor a little bit. And I go to this temple with the guide. And the moment I walk in, I'm like, this is it. It was exactly like my dream. It had the huge pillars of beautiful golden and turquoise. It had 4 chambers. And so like I was, right away, I was like, okay, this is going to be interesting. Spirit, what are you doing to me? And similar to some places in the world, not all places in the world, but in Egypt specifically, when you try to get into certain sacred sites that are roped off, you have to pay to pray. That's how I call it. Other places around the world, you don't. It just depends on the place and sacred sites. And I understand that. So I knew to have some Egyptian pounds and told my guide, like, I don't care. We have to get to wherever this is that I had the dream about. So paid to pray, paid some Egyptian pounds. That 4th chamber was locked off. They let me in. I go inside and there's this huge kind of temporary steel stairs, very steep, going straight up to, it almost looks like a window. It's pretty high up and it's short. And my assumption is, of course, it was a door at some point. So I follow him, I go up there, and up inside there is this barely 3 feet. I don't even think it was 3 feet. It was so narrow of a passageway with carvings on both sides. And first of all, if you're claustrophobic at all, Egypt is going to be hard if you want to go into anything because it's all like you're crawling around spaces. But I'm in there and I'm with this guide of the temple, who's this beautiful soul Muslim man. He takes off his prayer beads, which he gave me and I still have, they're very sacred, and puts them around my neck and says, put your hands up on this wall. Tons of carvings, tons of ancient Egyptian things carved into there. So I just want to say, I've never been pregnant. I've never given birth. I had to have a hysterectomy a lifetime ago because of life and complications of life. But I put my hands on this wall and it felt as if I was giving birth. Like I was like hyperventilating right away. I was like, whatever the Lamaze breathing is, I'm assuming that's what, but I'm just like doing everything in my power to not melt my brain based on all the information and download of information that was coming in. And so it was just quite overwhelming and beautiful experience. Fast forward 2 weeks later, I'm in the Sinai Peninsula, and the Sinai Peninsula has St. Catherine's Monastery, which is crucial and important to every religion. It's highly protected, sacred site. It has all the Bibles way before the Bible that we have now, I'd say. Like, it's amazing. But I was trying to get to basically the top of Moses Mountain where Moses channeled the 10 Commandments. I wanted to be up there for sunset, sleep on top, and for sunrise. But it was complicated. So they're all working it out. You need to do that. You need to be with a Bedouin individual from that specific tribe that takes care of that area. So it's a unique way. So I was like, they're all talking loud, kind of yelling, and I'm just hanging out, drinking tea with a couple of guides. But there was a guide there that looked really familiar. And I said, I know you. I've seen you on my path thus far, but it's not here. Like, how do I know you? And it turns out this guide lives right outside Luxor. So I go into my spiel of like, he's like, why are you in Egypt? And I go, whoa, same thing I just explained to you guys. And he gets this kind of like smirk on his face. And I'm like, what? And he says, lots of my clients that come to Luxor, to that specific temple, have had that dream. And I'm like, what? Like, what is even happening? So the reason I tell that kind of big spiel of a story and what's going on was I have a very authentic way of living my life based on connection to source and based on to listening to what I'm told. That's not that I'm not a sovereign being and can make my own decisions, but I have this kind of way of being connected to source and following forth on that. And if I turn 55 in a couple of days. If I leave the world, tomorrow, I have lived an amazing life thus far. That being said, I think it's so important, and kind of the takeaways and the reasons that I get called to do certain things, and I want you to get the lesson for yourself without having to travel the world like that, is that we're all here to remember. We're here to remember our power. We're here to remember our strength. We're here to remember our authentic voice. And in this world that we're living in at this moment, there's so much noise that keeps us from being connected to our true source and our true life and true light. And so I want you all to just remember, this little fingerprint. We all have these unique stories and these unique ways of being in this world. No one is the same. No one is the same. No one is the same in their auric field. No one is the same in their gifts. And what a beautiful world when you are in your authentic truth. And there's nothing that stops you from stepping into that. And one other piece that I'd want to just bring in is that from talking to beings that have been on the left body and are on the other side, you know this and probably heard it from others too. Souls line up to be embodied. Not everyone gets to experience what we're experiencing of smell and taste and emotions and just the life and the adventure of it. So how I work for me and what I want to leave this kind of a little takeaway is every morning when I get up, I put my hand on my thymus, upper heart, and my womb space. I keep my eyes closed and I just breathe until I get into my heart coherence. And I ask my soul, what is it that I need to know today? What is it that I need to know? And how can I be more authentic in my truth? And when I say that, it's the truth that's for me and only for me. And so even just that practice of getting really in tune with your authentic truth, anything that is not your authentic truth goes away very fast. Sometimes too fast, but goes away very fast. And so I want to leave you that gift of strengthen your muscle, and you will live a life of adventure and flow, and your frequency of doing what you love and what lights you up will help change the world. And for that, buen camino. And I want to say, let's give it to the amazing Bernadette to take us next.
Hello, lovely people. Trina, that was so beautiful. I'm so about it. I see you, sister. We're all traveling, following your divine guidance. I love it. So welcome, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. I'm going to zone into some very tactical things to help you if you are running a soul-aligned business. So like Trina, I had traveled the world following my divine guidance. I used to have a corporate career, and a spiritual awakening tipped my world upside down. And I got very connected to my soul and my purpose for being here. And I went out in the world and I decided to start a business. And there is no better way to lose yourself in this world than to go online and try to run a business in the noise and the marketing and the strategies and all the advice that comes at you when you are wanting to walk this world in a very authentic, soul-aligned way that is heart-led, but you're trying to figure out how to do your 5D self in a 3D world. So I've been doing this for 14 years now, and when David invited me, I thought, what could I give you in 10 minutes that would be like tactically like cutting through something really fast that you could take away and apply? So I'm going to give you my 8 C's for a soul-aligned business. So this is really focused on if you're wanting to amplify your voice and you're doing anything vocationally around presenting a message to the world. Okay. So the first C is clarity, and that is your clarity of a few things. First of all, who are you? What are you doing on the planet? What is your purpose? And why have you decided to present that in a voice in the world? When you could go live in a forest happily on your own, you're doing it because you want to amplify your voice for what? So get really, really clear on that. And I think inside of that, I've had a lot of marketing agencies and help, and a lot of it has been really bad, and a lot of it has been really good. So I'm going to give you the best of I got, and I'm going to ditch all the rest. Don't be afraid to niche down to your niche. Your most pinpoint niche is how you will actually amplify your voice. And it's really scary to do that when you're in business, because you think if you niche down, you're going to end up in a little corner talking to yourself about this one pinpoint thing. Actually, the exact opposite happens. So I think niche down, go big is my experience of it. The second C is consistency. If you are not a natural business person by nature, so we have a lot of 5D, very heart-led people that aren't really necessarily very structured business thinkers by nature, it's very easy to accidentally not be consistent in your business. And what I've learned is this: people trust you when you don't walk away and leave them hanging, which means people that show up on social media and they do 6 months and then they've gone and I don't know where you've been for a year, and then you pop back up and try to tell me something. And it's like this consistency to show up and never not show up. Show up when you don't really feel like it, because people need you and they need you more than you hiding. And the other thing is like sometimes you feel like you're just saying the same thing over and over again, and you've got this one message and you get a little bit bored of your own message, but 8 billion people are not getting bored of your message. So it's like consistently show up with the same message. You don't need to change your message. You don't need to dress it up in a fancy costume. You need to show up and say the thing that God, source, creator, divinity put you here to say, that your soul wants to say, and you need to not stop saying it, and you need to say it on a consistent basis, because people are going to come in and out of your world. And you need to remember, every time you're showing up, there's a different audience, there's a different frequency going on about who is receiving that at that point in time. So that's what I would say: consistency builds trust. The third thing is courage. Okay, it is no small thing to amplify your voice in a world of judgment, in a world of polarizing duality, opinionation, and or any of us that are here to live heart-led, soul-led, source-connected lives inside your business. And by the way, your business is you, because pretty much everybody that's doing soul-led, source-led work, their business is an outpicturing of their own heart. To do that and to speak that way in the world takes a lot of courage, because there's always going to be people that don't agree, and that's absolutely fine. But what I've found is that most importantly, from a soul-aligned business point of view, is this: you can so easily lose yourself inside strategies and marketing. And, oh, but they said I should do this on Instagram, and I should be doing this kind of copywriting, and da, 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 da. And it's like literally every strategy and marketing thing that there is possibly that I've done in the last 14 years, it's like a minefield for losing yourself. So my advice is this: be in with anybody and any advice. Take it, digest it, assimilate it, and let your heart answer how you're going to do it, so that you never lose your authentic voice in any platform, in any way, whatever you're doing. Okay, I'm going a little fast because I've got 10 minutes and I'm not going to go over, David. Okay, the fourth one is content. Okay, content. C for content. The reason content, because content builds relationships, and the whole planet and the whole human experience, including business, is just relationships. Everything from the moment you pop out of the womb is a relational experience until the day you pass. Relationship with your soul, relationship with source, relationship with your clients, peers, all of it is you're relating to others. And one of the great ways of relating is through content and through connection building, through storytelling. And so, you know, a lot of when we're talking about doing business online and business in the world, there's obviously strategies like advertising, and we do all of that. But pure, good, solid content where you are speaking your message and you're sharing your message in whatever formats work for you is so powerful. It built my business for the first 10 years. I never spent a cent on advertising, never did anything. I didn't do collaborations, partnerships, nothing for 10 years. And it was all built off just simple, really basic, really badly edited video and audio content. And so it builds so much trust and understanding of your message. And it's a great way to amplify your message is just by being a great content creator. Even now, even in this age where there's so much noise around content as well. And inside of that, I'll just say two things for content. One is always know that it's your unique story that people want. It's not your process. It's not your unique thing that you do. We all have a thing, but it's really you, your vibration. It's really you, the way like Trina, like she's just like shining out her face. You know, I want to be with her. I can feel her energy. Like Natasha's voice is like, there's no distortion in your voice. Your voice is like so loud and clear and channeled. It's just so very powerful. So, you know, I am interested in what is their story, not what's your technique that I'm going to, whatever. So inside of that, be true to your story. The fifth C is collaboration. And I'm just going to put this one really short and simple, is you are not an island and you are not a lone ranger, even if you're an introvert and even if you don't like being out in the world. Collaboration, 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 because it's about relationships. And the way you will amplify your voice is not sitting in a corner talking to yourself. And the greatest way to connect with other people is through groups that already exist, by, for example, being here with all of you and you being with other groups. So tapping into connections to be able to build community at a collaborative level. The sixth C is one of the best things I learned from a marketing agency that I worked with, and it was my biggest takeaway, and that is understand if you are in a soul-aligned business that you have a thing called a customer journey. This is the sixth C, customer journey. And that is people do not come into your world, fall in love with you and buy something from you. They go on a journey with you, and that journey requires taking their mind and their heart to a certain place where if they're right to be with you and stay with you and work with you, they will. But it's really understanding that how somebody is experiencing you, because you know you and you know you're awesome. But if you want to amplify your voice, it's about getting in their shoes and understanding about how to guide them through that journey. The seventh C is something that I've always kind of really felt deep down, but have never really understood why. And it's community building. And what I mean by that is my husband, Aaron, and I talk about this a lot at the moment, is that it feels like the world is really moving sharply in the last couple of years, and I think it's going to continue away from public domains and into private communities. And I don't mean paid communities, like private, free communities like this. What it really is it's about safe space. It's about safe space with like-minded people to have really open, powerful conversations that are alchemical and catalyzing without being in the domain of the public noise, where it doesn't feel for a lot of people very safe. So I don't know who your audiences are when you want to amplify your voice, but I would say chances are if you're here, then your audience has probably got a level of sensitivity that they don't want to be participating in the friction and the storm of noise out there. And so if you can curate a community, and you can do that on your social, like I don't know if it was David I was talking to or someone else on an interview, but I curate my social media where I don't allow toxic, negative anything. Like if that happens, they're out. I ban them, I block them, and I curate my social platforms like I curate my private community. So I really encourage you to think about, if you want to amplify your voice, that means you're a leader, because you don't amplify your voice and you don't get to amplify your voice unless you want to stand in leadership, because that's essentially what it is. I've got something to say. I want you to listen. There's a vision I want to portray to you. Then in that leadership, people will look to you at that way, to be like a lighthouse for them. And so creating a community space for people to feel safe to be with you and other people like them is super powerful for supporting your message and whatever you want to do. And then the eighth and final one took me a very long time to learn, and that is this. The eighth C is CTA, call to action. You cannot assume that if you are doing a service in the world, people are going to go, oh, they're doing a service. What is their service? Oh, I'm going to buy it. You have to literally directly tell them, and you have to ask them to do what you want them to do. And so I CTA all over the place now, and I never used to, because I thought, oh, that's not the right thing to do. I'll just sit here being really soul aligned, and everything will just work. And you really need to understand that source put you here. You signed up to be here. You have a purpose for being here. Time is not forever. And if you really believe in what you're doing, then you would sing loud and proud. And you would say exactly what you're about and exactly what your transformation is that you're creating for the world, and how you're working with people in a loving invitation. And that's all CTA is. It's a loving invitation with clarity and all the other things for people to know how to be with you. And that is did I get under 10 minutes, David?
Close enough. Close enough.
That's it. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Bernadette. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Trina. Thank you, Natasha. Hey, you guys, as you're seeing these three amazing women who are sharing their wisdom and work with us, what are some questions that are coming to your mind? Would you mind just tossing those into the chat? And I'll let them kind of jump in on those. So I've got a couple of questions as you guys are popping in your questions. So Bernadette, those are a lot of 8 C's, right? And so every one of those, I'm thinking, yes, that's the one. So like, how do I, if I feel overwhelmed with the 8, and go, where do I start? You know what I mean? Like where do I start of those 8 C's if I'm feeling like passionate about all of them and kind of feel like I need all of them in some way?
Yeah. Okay. So it sounds like a lot, but really what you want to do is you want to have a really clear strategy and a plan for what you're doing. And I know what it's like to try to do all, and I got completely burned out. Like the first marketing agency I hired they were like, oh my God, are you like totally stressed out? I was like, yes. They're like, yes, you're doing too much. Like I was doing all social, all forms of content, like all the offers, all the launches. Like it's too much. It's too much. So what you want to think about is getting a really clean and simple start to finish model. When your end goal is what? People get very confused about this. We're not out there doing business to just do business and I've got to tick all the boxes of all things and that's all a yes. What is the end result? For me, my end result is there is a message that's coming through, and my job is to get it into the hearts of a particular kind of person that I'm here to help. And so I have to figure out the most efficient, joyous, stress-free way for me to get that to her heart. And that's it. And so everything I'm doing is like, is that going to help me get there? Yes or no? And if no, it's off the table. And so, and one example is this. If you don't like being on camera, forget about video and go, what is the most efficient way to do my 8 C's through written word or through audio? It's an example. Okay. If I'm terrible at tech, and I don't have resources to do tech, and I don't really want to learn tech, which is a bit of a problem if you're an online business. But side note, then what is the most efficient way that I can get from start to finish with the minimal amount of tech? Like I know people that have no websites, and all they do is sell via a PayPal button, and then they have phone calls with people. It's like there's an idea that business has to be complicated. And my husband and I have built like a beast of a machine, and then we've reduced it down and simplified it. And you really don't actually need to try to do everything. So if I was looking at this and I was feeling overwhelmed, I would just say, what right now at this day and time, because our clarity about our soul and purpose does evolve over our life, but what right now am I very clear that I'm here to do, and who am I here to help?
Awesome.
1.
Thank you.
Okay. Schedule. How often am I going to produce content and consistently present it to people? Like once a week. What are my core messages I'm going to put in that? And then once I share that with them, what's my call to action and how am I going to help them learn more? That's a customer journey. It doesn't have to be complicated. It's just like a little map. All you're doing is building a little map to take you from here to that person's heart and what needs to happen in between in the most efficient, simple way possible.
I love that. And you said it brings me joy. Like you left that part out at the end. That was great. Brings you joy. That was
Okay,
good.
yeah, like I spent years, I lost my way. And
Yeah.
I lost all magic and lost all joy for doing business. And unfortunately, that squashes your soul and your
Yes.
original purpose. So please don't let that happen to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Hey, we got a question, Trina. I want to toss this to you from Laura. She says, I am brand new to following inner guidance. How do you tell the difference between ego and guidance if you're just starting out?
That's a great question. And I would say a couple things. I'm a big fan of, I might have mentioned this in the podcast, I can't remember, but I'm a big fan of human design and really knowing what your authority is. I'm emotional solar plex, and I've always felt stuff in my gut. So I think starting to really hone in on what your specific authority is a great way to kind of understand how your system works. I call it your body, your system. And for inner guidance versus ego, I usually, because I'm emotional solar plex, I sleep on every big decision. If there's a huge decision, I wait. If I'm really excited about it, like, well, let me just feel how I feel in the morning. I let the energy kind of the waves go through. I'm also a projector, so I take a lot of information in. So it's like, for me, the easiest way to get really clean on what's ego and what's guidance, inner guidance, is to quiet your mind. So being consistent in a practice, it doesn't have to be 30 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, even just sitting down for 5 to 10 and just meditating, closing your eyes and asking for what's important at that moment, as I spoke about. In my story, in my kind of story timeline of what I shared, when I jumped off the Camino and went to Netherlands, that was more ego. That wasn't inner guidance. In some ways, it was inner guidance because that was a lesson I needed to burn out of my system. But it was more like, well, there's a cute guy that wants me to come. Okay. So knowing the difference, going to Egypt and getting that calling, that was inner guidance. And obviously those are big two extremes, but it's mostly quieting the mind and just having practice. And you'll feel it. You'll feel what's not in alignment and what's ego.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Trina. Thank you for the question, Laura. I got a question here from Diane W. And I want to toss this to Natasha, if that's okay. She says, I work out of my home as a hands-on healer. How do I get over the concern of having people come to my home? Natasha, I know you work online and in person. Would you mind touching base on that from your perspective?
Yeah. So I work both in person and remotely on Zoom. And so I actually have people coming to my home. And, at first my mind, my ego was like, I got to protect myself. But then I realized, like, if I was calling that person in, I was vibrationally calling them in, then as long as I am in a state of love, I don't need to worry about anyone coming to my home and be in a state of fear, right? So I have been doing this for 5 years now. People have been coming to my home. I've never had a problem. It's just I've created this very loving, welcoming environment. And because of what I do nervous system healing. I stabilize the nervous system. So I help people allow more light in. And so vibration is everything, right? And so I've created this vibration here in my home to have it be very loving, welcoming, and just so fear is not even a part of it anymore.
Thank you, Natasha. I also have like a giant crystal that I just hold when someone comes over for the first time. So, not that that's fear. It's just like welcoming them with a crystal, Diane. Just kidding. Kidding. Jokes. All right. Hey, what other questions do you guys have? If you want to pop those
Also
in.
do a little quick bit on that too.
Yeah,
just
Trina.
piggyback. I do client work here too, and also via Zoom. it is important to clean your space. So I'd be curious if that was kind of what it was about. So what I do after I'm done, I Palo Santo before, I Palo Santo after, I open up the windows, I have like a bed and sham that I go around and just, I clear the space a lot. And so just have your protocol in place, and then what comes in will go out.
Wonderful. Thank you, Trina. Bernadette, did you have any? Let's see, Bernadette, here's a question. I'll actually toss this your way. Samantha says, Bernadette, how do you market in a world that is focused on outbound marketing when inbound marketing seems to be more soul, heart-centered?
Interesting. How do you market in a world that is focused on outbound marketing? What do you mean? Can you ask Samantha? What do you mean, Samantha? What's inbound marketing to you? I know what outbound marketing is. What do you mean by inbound marketing? Are you saying, for example, just letting the people come to you? Is that what you mean? Outbound are selling to a person. Inbound, you draw the person to you. It's both. Beautiful. I love that. It's both. It's both. It's always both. So, for example, I was looking at my my past month, and like I've had 3 unicorn clients, like my ideal clients. Like, I actually pinch me. I get paid to do this. Like, seriously, they just showed up in my inbox, bought massive package, awesome, very happy, not a single question asked, no communication, nada, nothing, ready to go. Totally energetically drawn in. However, I also have hundreds of clients that have found me through a podcast where I have CTA'd them to come to my website and to learn about something, like come to a class with me, come like read my books. And that's how they've come in. And I think it's always a combination of both. Here's what I learned really early on, and I think this would be my greatest pain point in business, is that when I started out, I was like, oh my gosh, we're inside out creators. The universe is energetic and vibrational. I am going to rock this out, and I'm going to do whatever I want, whenever I want, and that's all I'm going to do. And I'm going to bring in all the best clients. And what happened was I got my business to like here. Okay. And so I was attracting all these people. People were finding me. I was doing videos and things, and people were loving it, but I was really energetically drawing them in. And nothing would go any further than that, because I was not doing business. I did not understand how to get your message on a broader platform and how to present that in a really crystal clear way. And what I also realized is, unless you do really clear outbound marketing, I would bring in a lot of people, and they were great people, and I was energetically drawing a lot of people to me, but they weren't the exact ideal people that I wanted to work with, as I got really clear about what I really wanted to do and who I really wanted to help. And that's where outbound marketing, you saying your message very clearly, brings in a whole different kind of people. And I'll just say one last thing on this. I never sell, ever. So selling, a lot of spiritual people have a thing about selling, and they think marketing is selling and selling and selling. And I'll tell you what I got told when I was in corporate business. I spent 7 years in business development, working in a consulting firm, and I had a genius, amazing boss. And she'd made millions. She was the most heart-centered, incredible woman. She said, selling is not selling, selling is relationships. All you have to do is be excellent at being authentic, your true self, absolutely loving and deeply interested in other people, and build relationships, and the rest happens. So I have not had one sales call or done one selling in 14 years. So what I do is I listen to people and I support them and how I can help them, and that's it. And so that in itself, when you do content, is what, marketing language is a bit gross, right? Convert, sell, CTA. But really what it is about is you connecting deeply, and people deeply understanding what you're about and how you can play with them to help them in their life. And so I'm not sure if that very long-winded round circle answer is helpful.
Thank you so much, Bernadette. Trish, call us to action could be listen to a podcast episode, download this PDF, buy my book, book a consultation call, go read this blog post, anything that's moving people toward either a connection with you through your content that you've created, or a direct connection through, some means, email me, DM me, all of those things. So All right. Hey, I want to recognize our executive contributors on the call tonight. Obviously, Natasha Davidson, Trina Gadsden, Bernadette Logue, Molly Burkett. Thank you so much for being here. Juliana Erickson just joined us today as an executive contributor. Tahia Lemire just joined us this week. Royce Morales, who just dropped off, and then there were a couple others on the call too. So great to have you guys here. Real quick, just a couple of seconds each. If people want to connect with you or even work with you, and if you guys could just stay with us here for just like 3 more minutes, Natasha, how could people work with you or benefit from what you're doing?
Yeah. So I basically what I do is I clear dissonant energy. I'm able to pinpoint with precision where there is disharmony. And I'm able to update the neurocircuitry in the brain, and people end up feeling better. So I'm able to, or people are able to reach me at my website, heartrootedhealth.com. David, if you could put that in the chat. Heartrootedhealth.com. Perfect. Thank you. And I do like a 15-minute discovery call if you want to ask questions or learn more. But basically, it's about building the circuitry in the nervous system to be able to allow more of your light into this physical experience. So thank you, David.
Thank you, Natasha. Trina, tell us how you could help us.
How can I help you? Let's see. So I work in ways of removing trauma and how energy is stopping you from living your best life. And I do it via Zoom or in person, and kind of these quantum 3 to 4 hour sessions are pretty intense, but they are able to get you to your highest blueprint and timeline that's available at this time. So you can check in with me via either Instagram. You could follow me there. I'll follow you back, or go to my website, so trinagadsden.com, and I will be more than happy to help you with your dream.
Thank you, Trina. Bernadette, how can people connect and work with you?
Okay, so the best thing is just come to my website, which is bernadettelogue.com. I have 2 main ways. I do private coaching and I have a group mentorship program. So my core focus is clear your psychological and emotional limitations so you can align with your soul and purpose and live it fully.
Thank you, Bernadette. You guys are amazing. It is so great to be with you. Thank you, Natasha. Thank you, Trina. Thank you, Bernadette. You guys want to give them a hand in the comments, and yes, via hand. Hey, next month, we're going to be gathering back here, different link. So don't come to this link. But if you go to awakenedmagazine.com/masterclass, our September theme is cultivating creativity in your life and business. And so we're going to be talking about how to leverage creativity. And I've got 3 other amazing people to hang out with us that are executive contributors. So, hey, if this has been beneficial, would you mind just sharing it with a friend and tell people, hey, there's this thing that happens once a month. I'd love for them to come and be a part of it and engage. And yeah, that's it, you guys. It's great to be with you. So have a wonderful evening, and we'll talk to you soon.